Hello, good morning. I'm going to review and discuss legal considerations as presented in Chapter 2 of the Nursing Assistant. Um, and standards of care are established by every facility and those standards of care according to state and local guidelines and federal guidelines. And nursing assistants and healthcare workers need to follow their facility standards of care. Um, and the bottom line is it changes from facility to facility. So, for example, I was watching a House episode once, and in some states, based on the age, if a young woman becomes pregnant, the medical um, personnel do not have the legal authority to inform the parents. So, in New Jersey, it's a much younger age than Pennsylvania. So it changes from just like our laws change. Like New Jersey, they just legalized marijuana, not legal here in Pennsylvania. So different issues, different states, different local policies. So the standards of care serve as a model against which your work is judged, providing the best care possible within your scope of practice. That would be your training certification. And following these standards protects you. Um, if you go outside the standards of care or outside your scope of practice, you are not protected from being fired. And let's face it, in healthcare, things go wrong, just like in any other industry. So, legal jargon. If you know of something, or you're aware of something, or if you're supposed to know something in the standards of care within your scope of practice, you are legally responsible. If you make an accident, even under your standards of care, um, or you ignore something, um, you could be found negligent. That's unintentional harm. Okay. And unintentional harm committed by a doctor, physician, RN is malpractice. And that's where they get sued and they carry insurance for that. Generally, for an RN or a nursing assistant or anybody under a professional, um, you know, the hospital's going to protect you if you did everything you were supposed to. Um, so the RN is like on the boundary there of the difference between malpractice and negligence. So how can a nursing assistant be negligent? Um, Disregarding supervisor's instructions, performing a task incorrectly or unsafely, performing a task without training, performing a task that's beyond your scope of practice, even if told by a nurse or a professional. So if a nurse or professional tells you to do something and you're not trained to do it, and that's outside of your scope of practice, that's negligent. If you do something and you're supposed to know how to do it and you do it incorrectly or unsafely, that could be found negligent. So let's say you are trained to take blood and you hurt the person, or you're trained to give a catheter and you hurt the person. That could be found negligent. My wife is a risk manager, so she works with this stuff a lot. And generally, if people say they're sorry and report it, no one gets in trouble because accidents happen. So abuse, this is a serious issue in the United States. I gotta check the time. Um, there's physical abuse, verbal abuse, psychological abuse. What should you do? You do if you suspect abuse, you should report it right away. Here in Pennsylvania, we have to call the state if you're a mandatory reporter. That's anyone in healthcare or education. We would want to report it to the local authorities as well, and we would want to report it to on documentation with an incident report. And every facility has its own process. But with children, we have to report it to the state as well. Um, so physical abuse, that's obviously direct contact, or restraining somebody illegally. Verbal abuse would be yelling at somebody, cursing at them. Psychological abuse could be a combination of those two, or making someone feel less about themselves. So reporting incidents, what should be reported immediately? Anything unusual, okay? Most facilities use a form and include date, time, location, complete description, and facts. It's probably computerized. For example, if there's a technical issue, I'll report it immediately. If there's an issue with the student, I report it immediately via email and document it. If there's an issue with facilities, I report it via a portal as well. And it should be non-biased and objective. Not all things are computerized still, but it's important that it be factual and objective. Bias means opinionated. We want to leave out our opinion. So the patient chart. Patient chart is a document of what has been done for the patient. So we still use paper for that. It might be computerized. And how the patient responded to care. It communicates to team members special ways to meet the patient's needs. It provides info about unusual events or situations with that patient. So a patient chart is outside the incident report. It's for every single patient. It could be on the patient's bed. It could be in the computer. It could be on the door. It's important we chart things. If we do not chart things, they never happen. So here's a review question. The nursing assistant scope of practice includes administering meds as directed by the RN, duties of the job description, supervising other nursing assistants, or D, inserting a urinary draining catheter if delegated by the RN. And it's B, duties of the job description. Ignore that number there. You're a nursing assistant. You are negligent if you perform a task without proper training, not following a supervisor's instructions, fix that spelling, perform a task incorrectly, or D, all the above. All the above. 9 times out of 10, all the above is the answer in this class. To maintain continuing competency over requires the nursing assistant to maintain her competency through employer-sponsored programs, retake the skills portion of the competency evaluation each year, work for at least 1 year to maintain her certification, or complete a training program every 2 years, and the best answer is A. False imprisonment. So this comes up, and this is a form of restraining somebody against their will. That could be locking them in a room or tying them down. And that's a form of negligence, verbal abuse, or physical abuse, and it is a form of physical abuse, and it can lead to psychological abuse. So which of the following statements is not true about incident reports? Incident reports document all the details regarding the situation. All incidents regarding faulty equipment accidents should be reported. Incidents involving families and any visitor to the facility should be reported. Incident reports are necessarily only if someone mentions a lawsuit. It's D. Even though that makes sense, I had to think about it there. The answer is D. So that's a little review. Good luck. Study the book. You have a test coming up.